Today, we're going to have a really educational opportunity here. We're going to have Dr. Bill Hennessy on describing the mess and how to deal, more importantly, how to deal with the mess of insurance claims, insurance payments, what a patient is entitled to know and how they're entitled to know, and what they should know about getting their claims settled fairly and legally. This is a disgraceful situation in our country. Again, I don't want to use the word corruption, but it's collusion amongst the largest players, from the pharmaceutical companies to the hospital companies to the governments, and it's a real shit show. So people are getting ripped off every day. People are going broke every day. People are being chased for bills that they probably don't owe. Their credit is being ruined because of this corrupt, poor behavior. And Dr. Bill Hennessy here is going to give us a little bit of an education that we all need, and we ought to take it very seriously. And the other reason why it's germane to speak about this today is, in case you haven't read, I've read that healthcare insurance premiums are going to skyrocket over next year. So they may double again. And I don't know about what the exact rate of medical care or medical insurance inflation is, but it's exorbitant, and it's much, much higher than the standard politically, used inflation rate. And it's scary. So one way or another, people, save yourself from going broke. Go ahead, Dr. Bill. Tell us what the problem is in the United States with healthcare insurance.
It's the only sector of our economy where the price is hidden before the time of purchase. In fact, it's even hidden after the time of purchase. And in fact, one more thing. 0 of 5,700 hospitals provide you with an itemized bill. You actually have to ask for it. You can't get worse customer service. In fact, I think the fact that they hide it that much is illegal.
Can you expand on that? I mean, people don't think of health care and health insurance in a regulatory kind of environment. They go in, they get a service, done, provided, and then whether it works right or it doesn't work right, or they pay or they don't pay, or they don't know how it really works. So what are the components of that?
You said a couple important words early there. There is a difference, a distinct difference between healthcare and health insurance. And most of us of a commercial working age, that's age 27, post-Obamacare, and pre-Medicare, 64, you are between age 27 and 64. Over 99% of you are not going to be hospitalized. You just need care. You need blood work, a mammogram, a doctor visit, a routine outpatient procedure like a GI scope. What I am describing is commodity care. I'm going to use 3 words interchangeably. Commodity, routine, or outpatient. These are things that have a fixed amount of time, a fixed amount of effort, a fixed amount of square footage, and in the case of blood work or imaging, the same fixed amount of technician time without a doctor involved. There should be no pricing variation. We should know that a 2-view chest x-ray is $100, that a new doctor visit on average is paid by the large insurance companies $175. A follow-up doctor visit is paid on average at $125. A mammogram is paid on average at $250. I could go on. Those are real numbers. Let that sink in. Don't pay more than that. But what we're trying to do is create, you pay best cash price and a known price for care, for outpatient care, routine care, and you use insurance for what it's meant for. A financial catastrophe, which usually in healthcare means a physical catastrophe. You're hospitalized or you got cancer. But I think it's completely stupid and the tail wagging the dog to say, I'm going to go into an urgent care or my primary care office and say, what kind of insurance do you have? Really? The visit's going to be $175. Would any of us ever purchase insurance in case we had to spend $175 once in a 12-month time frame? That's stupid. Let's separate care from insurance, and insurance would cost less and care would cost less. That's my first recommendation. I'll piggyback on it one more thing before giving it back to you, Alan, is don't go to the hospital for routine care. That is the single most expensive place and where the most amount of crookery occurs.
I've seen that.
Bill, I've had all these experiences that you're talking about, and being in the insurance world for most of my life, I don't go to a doctor's office anymore and tell them what my insurance is. I ask them how much it's going to cost. And I tell all my friends, go find out, because even though I have insurance for disasters, and you can't buy a high deductible policy that makes sense because they won't structure it. The insurance company can't get enough principal, premium payments out of an individual in that kind of world, because they know that the numbers are so skewed. Your normal course, your normal expense for, medical care might be a few thousand a year. It's not millions. So,
correct. There's about 100 million people in this country that do not meet their deductible.
Right.
They just don't.
Yeah.
They're paying for everything out of pocket,
and
so
they're
they
paying,
really should know the price.
And they're paying $3,000 to $6,000 a month for insurance for their family. And it is highway robbery because it's unnecessary. It's actually destructive to the system, to the economy, that all of these people that are, burdened with these ridiculous premium numbers, don't need them, shouldn't have them. And healthcare knows that. The insurance companies know that. That's why you can't buy a kind of policy that you really need. So that, I always tell my friends, look, just buy a lot of life insurance, don't get sick, die. Because at least you're going to get what you bargained for. You'll get your $1 million or $2 million back. I mean, it's just, the math is so against the industry. Again, this is, so how does a guy like me go through the process of having a moderate to large claim and protect myself? Because, I was in the hospital 5 years ago, and 6 months after I got out of the hospital, I was still getting bills. I was dizzy. I didn't know what was current, what was old, what was provided, what wasn't. I can't prove it.
Yeah, so we definitely have a lot to talk about. There's more strategies I want to share with your audience on saving on healthcare, because again, most need care. But what most people are fearful of is that big bill, that big hospital bill. It's unethical, it's illegal, and it's predatory, and they're coming after you. You do have rights. So let's talk about rights and solutions, things that I would expect the listeners to remember. You have the right, the federal right, to a copy of your itemized bill, and at no cost to you. Under the law dating back to the mid-90s called HIPAA for short, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, your itemized medical bill is a part of your medical record. It is your personal property. So a hospital has to give it to you at no cost. I have an online location where people can access this request form. But at the same time, you get that. And so many people that aren't doctors, aren't even nurses, they see things on there that never occurred. There's a lot of fluff in there detected by even the average layperson. But you need to get an itemized bill. The other thing I want you to know is you'd have to say, well, these hospitals have really fake high charges, and nobody ever pays the real expensive charge. The insurance companies pay a discount. What should we really pay? The answer is what the care is worth. That's it. If I had a John Deere lawnmower for $1 million, and it does have a 3-foot deck on it, and I discounted at 90%, you're only paying $100,000. The word discount is horrible. It's a swear word in my company. We pay what the care is worth. But if I had a gun to my head and I'm being asked, well, what's the average that a hospital gets paid? Because those are the expensive bills. Hospitals are way more expensive than doctors. They get paid 30 cents on the dollar. So if you get a $10,000 bill and you didn't know any better, you'd say, I'll give you $3,000 today, or I'll give you $3,000, but I'm going to make $500 payments over the next half year. And you'd be surprised how many will take it. Because if they don't get paid in the first 3 months, the economic human behavior is, geez, we're just not going to get paid. So if we can get something out of this person before that 3 months occurs, we're doing okay as the hospital. But now I'm telling you, you should pay 30 cents on the dollar. Last one, big one. One pearl under the Affordable Care Act is IRS 501R. If you forget that number, that's okay. It just means the nonprofit hospitals in the country that benefit $40 billion, that's billion with a B, by their tax strategy. We know they're the most profitable because they're not paying taxes. They're supposed to give back free and discounted care. So if you're making ballpark between $30,000 and $80,000, most of you are entitled to free or steeply discounted care. 100 million people are entitled to free or discounted care in the US. So if you have a big bill, even if you do not have insurance, well, let's say you do, but you can't afford your $6,000 deductible, you could ask for the financial assistance application at the financial counselor office of the hospital and apply to get your free care. We've had this work to the tune of the record in my company is a $1.6 million bill at Vanderbilt going to $0. That family liked us.
Wow.
One at Yale New Haven went from $816,000 to $0 for a 2-month stay for a very serious life-threatening condition. Good clinical outcome. She was crying because she said, I'm not going to be able to afford to, I can't make that much money in my lifetime. Well, the bill went away. So we need to publicize the free and discounted care to 100 million people. And in blue states, East and West Coast, where there's really large cities, they have to give more free care to meet their community needs under the IRS. So you could be a family of 3 or 4 making $100,000 in LA or Boston or New York and still get free care, even without insurance. Again, ask for a financial assistance application at the financial counselor office. We just fixed a whole bunch of people right there. Thank you.
Wow. It's astounding.
Yeah.
Right? Tim and I talk about this stuff often because I've been through it. I've had all kinds of medical circumstances. Tim and his family have had all, and this is common. I mean, we're not just the only two people that are going through this. Most families do go through this, and most families are living on the edge of bankruptcy, or fear of bankruptcy. And it's a disgrace. I mean, what you've just said now about, getting the itemized bill, getting this financial assistance form, and it's clearly embedded in the federal law right now until some bozos rip that apart. But, the bottom line is, I think that advice is invaluable. The three important pieces, I mentioned 2 of them that you gave us. I would love to find a way that we could exploit that and get that out and get people in touch with you and your firm, because I think that everybody I know would want to know this stuff. Everybody, should know this stuff because they can't live in fear.
I get asked lots of questions on what the cost of care is and should be. My number one is, what should I pay on my hospital bill? I know this is a BS charge. How do I fight it? I can't understand my bill. It's different ways of the same question.
Right.
Just get me to what I should pay on my bill. So I have endorsed and contributed some knowledge to a company known as sumhealth.org, S-U-M health.org. The True Charge AI bill repricer is the best in the United States. You can get a copy of your itemized bill. The request form will be there. And then you can drag and drop it. And in 10 seconds, every care item name is spelled out, what the hospital charged is there, and what you should pay based upon what the carriers normally pay. So nothing is hidden. All of a sudden, everybody that's ever received a bill can understand his or her bill. So that service is going to be available. Yes, it is going to be $25 because there's a business to support. And yes, you could either negotiate that bill or there will be a team of experts ready to negotiate it for you to go after that target price. But now in the world of AI, it's going to be as simple as drag, drop, and there it is. There's your real number and what they really charged you for.
So $25, anybody could go on there with their hospital
Correct.
bill. And really what we're talking about is hospital bills here. Nothing,
The big ones.
Yeah.
No one's going to reprice a $200, $300 doctor visit. But
Right.
if you got a $5,000 up to a $5 million hospital bill, you know what? That $25 is going to prove real valuable to you.
Yeah, no, so I get that. And I mean, that's it. The 25 is insignificant. Do you also do this with commercial businesses that, how do you get this out in the world? Because there are a lot of businesses that are going broke because they're buying or help subsidizing insurance plans for their employees that are not being utilized, or they're, still the same problem. Instead of having one person, they might have 20 out of 100 with the same problem.
Yeah, so it's been difficult to get to employers. I've sadly found largely employers don't really care about their employees when it comes to healthcare. The most common question I get is, how do I save money on healthcare? I'm like, well, don't offer health insurance. I mean, you're just being an idiot, though, because what's the real reason health insurance started being offered late 70s, early 80s? It was for R&R.
Right.
Recruitment and retention.
Right.
So with all of the solutions I've created, the goal is to spend less, but get more. What we're seeing going on now is the opposite. So I cannot work with Blue Shield, United, Cigna, or Aetna brokers, or with Blue Shield, United, Cigna, or Aetna. I will tell you the words broker and broken differ by one letter and for one reason.
And I agree with you on that as well. So, Bill, I have a question.
So we just got to get it to the individual. So we're going to put it on a website. We call it B2C, business to consumer. We care about you, the patient. We're going to give you direct access to us. And if your company doesn't want to buy our cost-saving service, you're going to get it direct, and we're going to make sure you like it.
It's fascinating to me. I mean, I could understand the insurance broker's reluctance because they could actually get fired for, from their agency kind of arrangement with the insurance company for,
correct,
promoting that. But that being said, I would think that, Chamber of Commerce and all these people should be spreading the word, because regardless of how you look at it, insurance cost, that's premiums plus the actual cost of care and benefits, is something that's crushing American industry and American individuals. It's
Hey, let me ask you, Dr. Bill, a quick question. So when you do these analysis, can you see any difference between an HMO as opposed to a PPO in terms of their billing, or is it all the same issues, just, between different providers?
The insurance companies, let's just say the big four, it's the same turd with a different wrapper on it. In the end, that's what you get. So what makes the pricing different isn't even geography.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what makes the pricing different. It's the size of the hospital, It's the location of the hospital, and it's a monopoly system. So let's go through each of those real quickly. You would think that if you're a larger health system like a Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic, that because there's so much volume that when Blue Shield or United comes in and does an agreement with them, it costs less. It's a volume play, because we know in every other sector of our economy, volume, no, it's the opposite here. They're charging more because the Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic are holding the carriers hostage and saying, look, Blue Shield, we're Mayo Clinic. I mean, we have more people come to our hospital than any other hospital in Minnesota, so you're going to give us the most money if you want to make money in the insurance industry in our state. So they hijack the carriers. So that's one thing. And the next thing is the location. So if you're really rural and there's not another hospital around you for 2 hours, every hospital in America thinks it has the right to financially extort you. They think they got you by the proverbial balls because there's nobody else around. So we're just going to charge you more. And the last one is it's technically not geography, but it's monopoly, but it's geography. What do I mean? Sutter Health owns San Francisco. UPMC owns Pittsburgh. So if you're going to get care there, you're just going to get them in a Sutter or UPMC hospital. Now, which one of the 40 you get them in, you don't know, but they got a monopoly. When you got a monopoly, the prices are astronomically higher than when there's competition. That right there is what affects pricing. But what did I just say at the beginning? Don't go to the hospital unless you need hospitalized. You should be using a Quest Diagnostics or LabCorp for your blood work. You should be looking for one of 3,000 surgery centers for your GI scopes or carpal tunnel releases that are not owned by hospitals.
Right.
You should be using one of 5,000 imaging centers not owned by hospitals. Now your MRIs are going to cost you $600 or $700, but they're not going to cost you $2,000 to $4,000.
I've heard
This
300.
is common sense advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had all those experiences. And again, it's a maze and it's a disgrace. The one thing I will say that is, a primary incentive here is convenience. So a lot of consumers shoot themselves in the foot because they want convenience. And the convenience is now, near, close, and they don't know how to shop for medical care.
I'm going to give you another saying of mine. I have lots of sayings. Don't go down the hallway. That convenience is going to cost you. Another one is trust your doctor with your life, not your wallet. And I think this is very important to explain. This is rubber hit the road. This is either you defend yourself and your ability to stay financially viable, or you get hammered and hosed. It's called the electronic medical record, the EMR. The biggest one is Epic. Allscripts is another one. But what the hospital CFO and director of revenue cycle management, that's a polished third word for saying the billing department, what they do is they program the electronic medical records so that when Alan needs his blood work or his MRI, you must use the most expensive hospital facilities. Even though there's plenty of other good options close to where you live and work, and even though they're in network, they're not going to be displayed. Only the expensive hospital ones are. Now, what if you got a caring doctor like me that said, I'm going to send you to Quest Diagnostics for your blood work anyway? What happens is I'm in a 3-man practice. 4 hospital administrators, that means more than 3, will come to my office. This is mafia stuff. They haven't brought baseball bats. Sometimes they've brought suitcases, though, and said, hey, you signed the no compete clause. It's a 50-mile radius. We know your wife and kids like it here. We saw you send a lab to Quest. If you ever do that again, we're firing you and you have to pick up and leave. Quit worrying about your wallet, their wallet. Worry about yours and your job safety. We're hospital executives. We need to make even more money than you, so get in line.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, but this stuff really does go on. So right then and there, when the doctor says, I'm prescribing to go down the hallway, that's so he or she doesn't lose his or her job. Right then and there, you need to say, I'm not agreeing to go to the hospital. I'm going to go to Quest for blood work. I need to look for an imaging center not owned by a hospital or a surgery center not owned by a hospital. Which ones are there? That's what I need to do to protect my family and gain access to care. But is it really that evil? I'm going to repeat. The answer is yes.
So question, and please don't take this the wrong way, because I think what you're doing is necessary, and I think you're certainly entitled to making a living by selling this advice and your services. My question is, have you written an op-ed for any major publication that's read by tens of thousands or even millions of people? Because I think that just this discussion here is so enlightening, people would be calling you in droves.
Well, again, the media, I've even talked to Wall Street Journal healthcare writers. And if I get to talk more than 2 minutes, they're like, oh my God, he's going to say everything. The hospitals and drug companies aren't going to give us our media money. We're never talking to Dr. Bill again. They clam up. Now, 2 good examples of no clamming up is back in April, Dr. Bill here was on Dr. Phil. I got to say what I want. That felt good. I was also on ABC Action News in Florida, a 1-hour primetime special, Patient No More. I love that name. It's a tundrum. It has dual meanings. That's been nominated for an Emmy, and we should learn of that Emmy within the next month. But that was rerun and opened up other media opportunities for me. But in general,
right,
the media is going to want to shut me down.
Of course. And that's why, and how, so I guess the next question would be, what was the follow-up of the, after the Dr. Phil show, which you sent me a copy of that video, so I watched that, yeah.
Yeah, so, the follow-up is they're interested in me being on his podcast. Of course, if you don't know, his media company had some financial mishaps and lawsuits, so that's on hold right now.
Right.
But nonetheless, that was a well-intended show with some significant honesty.
Yeah, I would love to find a way to help you spread the word. So if we could, yeah, we would love to collaborate in that regard for sure.
Well, I got some good distribution without advertising, but I think it's going to be more B2C or B2B2C, business to consumer, just our business to the consumer purchasing online. One of them is this excellent True Charge AI bill repricer, where you learn the true charge of your care. And the other one is a Health Freedom Health Bundle. I told you that 99 out of 100 only need care. Care isn't insurance. 150 million people pay for every dollar of care out of pocket. That's 50 million that don't have insurance, and the next 100 million that do, but their deductible is so high, they never meet it. So I created and co-architected a health bundle known as Health Freedom. No out of pocket when year-round when you need to get blood work or urgent care visits up to 6 per year, or telemedicine, telecounseling, or my team's price defenders for hospital bills and price transparency. Over 1,000 generic drugs also delivered to your doorstep. You don't pay. It's one fixed price. There's 3 bundles, $25, $50, or $70 a month. But now there's no such thing as a surprise bill, which everybody hates. People say you can't offer that much care for, say, $50. The answer is yes, we can, and here's why. There's only 5 reasons why, and they're brief reasons. It does not involve Blue Shield, United, Cigna, Aetna, or hospitals.
I was going to say it's not insurance.
Yeah, those are your enemies of affordable access to care.
Right.
So if we stay away from those 5, we can deliver a ton of great care at a low fixed monthly amount.
Right. So that's
we're going to do that.
That's insurance. That's not insurance. It's just basically a large pool of savings, and it's different than insurance.
Correct.
And it doesn't have the regulatory expense and all the other stuff. But it's very interesting.
Cost savings membership.
Yeah,
you're correct.
And I think it's very interesting because I think at being creative as you are and being as experienced as you are, those lead to opportunities to create and to put pressure on the big players to alter their strategies, to begin to design policies with higher deductibles at more fair premiums, so that everybody could be okay. So the insurance company can make some money, and the people with illness could be covered, and they could be treated, for major catastrophic kind of illnesses or injuries. And I think what you're doing is great.
The market is going to cash pay for outpatient care. So I just took it a little step farther and said, hey, for this $50 a month, you get all this. And when you get any of that care, you don't pay anything.
Yeah.
Time of service. We're simplifying it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be healthfreedomus.com, going live in November with that offering. Again, anybody in the United States can purchase that. So we're looking forward to giving solutions to the people who need it the most. They're called patients. And now there's no middleman.
Yeah, Bill, I thank you. I think it was an incredible discussion today.
Oh, yeah. When you're
Very
following the money
informative.
train like that and identifying that, I have so many more questions. I hope you'll come back on, Dr. Bill, and
I'd like to
expand on this some more. Thank you so much.
Right, but I want to make the point that every American is fucking angry and exhausted fighting the healthcare triangle. And that's what it is. It's
Absolutely.
A triad of evil. I mean, they just want to suck the money and the blood out of you.
Well, my team will do that for you. You can even see a website, Dr. Bill Hennessy, HENNESSEY.com. But my team will do that. And what's going to happen is we say, don't be bullied, be the bull. And if you don't want to negotiate your bill and you can't stand the predatory billing, look, we're all good at what we like. We're great at what we love. My team loves going after these hospitals and conducting psychological warfare and lowering your bill so that you save money on care.
And just to be clear, you make money on these, either the submission of the request, the $25 fee, or in these health membership plans where there's an expense factor, I imagine, that covers that, the cost of your people.
We're keeping it very affordable. It is a volume play where we make just a little off of each purchase. And we're going to prove it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Yes. I don't doubt it. I think it sounds like the right thing to do.
Love your advocacy.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Take care, gentlemen.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.